Hey guys, it's Chris. From locked rooms preserved for 70 years, to boxes that really helped show off history, and some that were made as a joke, join me as I reveal 9 of the most amazing time capsules in the world. Number 9. The whiskey bottle. For some people, the idea of a time capsule is meant to preserve a part of history in order to see what life was like back in the day and then witness how far we've come since then. But in New Hampshire in 2015, a time capsule was found from 1944, and it had a slightly different take on the idea. Mainly, it was a time capsule in a whiskey bottle, and it had a punchline for a message. "Whoever finds this bottle may keep it," the note from June 10th, 1944 read. "Sorry there's no liquor in it, but I drank it all up." Aside from the note that was found in the bottle, the other thing that was within the bottle was a penny, as well as another note from the writer of the message, Mr. Stevens. "I have many bottles buried all over town," Stevens wrote in the note. "There's one under the Catholic Church." At present, no other bottles have been found, or have been recorded as found anyways. Maybe he should have been more specific. What city was he talking about? Where can we find the whiskey? It was probably just another joke to have one bottle of whiskey be found and see if others would go and look for the rest, just because they might be there. But hey, they really might be there, and they could be valuable. Maybe even the penny could be valuable. Number 8. The Burbank Time Capsule. While not the largest time capsule, the one made in Burbank, California in 1959 is arguably one of the most unique ever made. This is partially because the capsule itself was silver-plated and led to ensure it would last the 50 years it was meant to be put away. Also, to preserve the contents. In 1959, the Magnolia Boulevard Bridge was being made, and so the capsule was put behind the dedication plaque that was put on the bridge and left to sit for 50 years until its grand opening. The irony here is that by the time 2009 came around, no one remembered that it was supposed to be open. That's the problem with these time capsules. Everyone forgets about them. That is, until a local historian saw a newspaper clipping about the capsule from 1959. This got people interested, and the capsule re-emerged from the bridge at the appointed time to be reopened. Inside the capsule was 35mm film that had photos of Burbank, California from 1959, as well as a list of predictions of what life would be like in 2009. And certain predictions did come true, while others were true well before 2009, and others never happened at all. Number 7. U.S. Century Safe. The first recorded time capsule in the history of the United States of America came from 1876 and was made by New York Magazine publisher Anna Deem. Her intention was to celebrate the 100th anniversary of America by making something that would help celebrate the next century after it was uncovered in 1976. As for what was within the time capsule itself, that would be a gold pen and inkstand. That's kind of classy. A book on temperance, okay? A collection of American signatures, which may be valuable, and a snapshot of President Ulysses S. Grant and other politicians taken by photographer Mathew Brady. And all that's according to the History Channel. So is any of this interesting for you guys? Though the capsule itself was planned in 1876, it wasn't sealed and put away until 1879. So where was it put? None other than the U.S. Capitol under the East Portico. While a sentimental thing, the safe was eventually forgotten as the bicentennial festivities drew closer for the United States of America. It was an accident that led to the rediscovery of the safe once again. But once it was identified, it was not only opened in 1976, the President of the United States himself, Gerald at the time, was there to witness and experience what was inside. Others there noted that they were honored to fulfill the wish of a lady who sought to speak to us from the other side of a 100-year gulf. Number 6. YAHOO Time Capsule. Not all time capsules are open just yet. There are many buried in the ground and other hidden places that are just waiting for the right time to open up. An example of such a capsule that will indeed hold a significance when it's opened in 2020 is the YAHOO Time Capsule. And that's right around the corner, guys. Are you excited? The box itself was made with the YAHOO brand and colors etched on the box and sealed in November 8th, 2006. It'll be opened in 2020 during the 25th anniversary of YAHOO as a company. But just as important, what is within the time capsule is digital information from 2006. Information that comes from many thousands of people who submitted their own special pieces of digital information, pictures, and more that fill the databanks of the time capsule. This kind of digital anthropology is likely aiming to be the first in a long string of digital time capsules, as well as give a wider look at the world at large through the people in it, and not just a small group of people either. Over 170,000 people contributed to this time capsule, making it one of the largest contributions of this nature in history. The time capsule currently resides in the Smithsonian Folkways recordings based in Washington, D.C. Number 5. A Parisian time capsule. For this very unique time capsule, we have to go back to the 1940s in Paris, France. It was not a good time for the city, as this was during World War II, and the Germans were invading the country and eventually the city of Paris itself. One woman named Miss de Florian refused to let anything happen to herself under German rule, so she grabbed what she felt she needed to survive and bolted out of town, apparently heading to the south of France. Before she did, though, she locked her room. And here's where the twist in the story comes in. You would think that after the Allies won World War II that Miss de Florian would return home to her belongings, but she chose not to. What's more, to ensure that no one touched her belongings, of which she had many, and many were valuable, she kept paying rent on the room in Paris for 70 years. Eventually, she passed away, and when her heirs were looking through the finances, they found out about the room. When they entered it, they found many valuable items. Most interestingly of all, though, was a portrait that was later revealed to be of their great-great-grandmother, painted by famous Italian artist Giovanni Boldini. That painting later sold for 3 million euros. Talk about a nice inheritance, wow. Number 4. Massachusetts State House Time Capsule. Technically speaking, there are 2 oldest time capsules in the United States history. One was planned, and that was the Century Safe time capsule. And the other wasn't meant to be a time capsule, but is viewed as such. That particular capsule is known as the Massachusetts State House Time Capsule. The Massachusetts State House Time Capsule was made by none other than Paul Revere and Samuel Adams, 2 very important figures in colonial American history. The time capsule itself was a box, one placed in a cornerstone of the State House by Revere and Adams, in order to commemorate the building itself. Within it, they had certain coins and other trinkets. Throughout history, the time capsule has been opened twice, including in 1855, where it was cleaned and had new artifacts put into it. Then, by the time 2015 arrived, it was rediscovered once again. It was found that this brass box was a treasure trove of items from multiple centuries, including coins from the 1700s and 1800s, copper metal that had George Washington's image on it, and a silver plaque that read, "This cornerstone of a building intended for the use of the legislative and executive branches of the government of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts was laid by His Excellency Samuel Adams, Esquire, Governor of the said Commonwealth." Number 3. General Dynamics Time Capsule. Just as it's true that many time capsules are left to be opened when the time is right, so too are ones opened before their time, or destroyed before they could be fully opened. This was the case with the General Dynamics time capsule of 1963. This particular time capsule had been made in celebration of the 5-year anniversary of the astronomical building that had been made in California by General Dynamics, and it was meant to be opened in 2063 after 100 years of resting. Within the capsule was a book called 2063 AD. This particular book had the predictions of many of the astronomers who were in General Dynamics based on what they thought the future would be, such as John Glenn, an astronaut, who said, "We'll have discovered natural resources we did not know existed in the year 1963, and discovered an anti-gravity system." William Pickering, an astronomer, said there will be travel at relativistic light-speed velocities to nearby stars. Sadly, in the 1990s, the building that the capsule was buried in was taken down, and the capsule itself destroyed. However, the book itself was not the only copy, and it was reproduced and can still be read today. Number 2. The EXPO 70 Time Capsule. In 1970, during the World's Fair in Osaka, Japan, Panasonic decided that they would start a grand time capsule experiment. They made and laid out for all the world to see a time capsule that wouldn't be fully opened until 5,000 years had passed. Within the main container is a layer of inert argon gas. This is intentional as it's meant to protect the contents from withering and decay over the course of the years. There's also a secondary container that's accessible to the people with authority over the time capsule, so it can be cleaned and inspected for damage. As for what's in the chambers, that would be 2,098 culturally significant objects, which include a collection of films, seeds, and microorganisms, as well as a ceremonial kimono, a slinky, and even a blackened fingernail of a survivor of the 1945 Hiroshima atomic bombing. Number 1. The Crypt of Civilization. For Thornwell Jacobs of Oglethorpe University, he had a grander idea of what a time capsule could be and what it could represent. He felt that to preserve existence as a whole, he would make a massive time capsule that would contain within it 640,000 pages of microfilmed books and religious texts, to an early television, a container of beer, and a set of toy Lincoln logs. Of course, among other things. All so the future of humanity could truly know what the past was like. The intent was that this would be a true time capsule, not for 100 years into the future, but rather 6,177 years into the future. And why that specific point in time? Well, because it was sealed up in 1940, and that was the amount of years believed to have transpired in recorded history. Thus, it would be a new chapter in the history of the world in some ways when the time allotted had passed. The time capsule, though, is more of a vault than anything else, as it's a 20 by 10-foot chamber under the university. To its credit and the dedication of the school, the chamber still remains unopened after nearly 80 years. A mere drop in the bucket of its 6,177 years. Thanks for watching. What did you think of these very special time capsules found all over the world? Which one of these captured your imagination the most? Which of them do you think was the best of the bunch? Let me know in the comments below. Be sure to subscribe, and I'll see you next time.